Welcome to the African Diaspora News Channel. This is Beth Lee. Today I will be talking about the President of the Democratic Republic of Cameroon, Mr. Paul Biya, who happens to be one of the most corrupt dictators of our time. Mr. Biya has been the President of Cameroon since 1982. Last year, October 2018, he won himself yet another 7-year term, ending in 2025, giving him 43 years as a president of a democratic country. This, to me, does not sound like a democratic country. Let's look at what it means to be a democratic country. A democratic country is where the government is by the people. It is a form of government where the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised directly by the people or by their elected agents under a free electoral system. Let's start with examining the 2018 presidential elections in Cameroon. Those elections were rigged, and the opposition was by far winning during the whole time. But at the end of it all, it was ruled that Mr. Biya yet again won the elections. A country with a democratic government is characterized by citizen rule, meaning a democratic government grants citizens the right to elect their representatives. The representatives, including the president himself, does not and should not elect themselves into office. That also means that they should not manipulate the voting to favor them. The elections should allow the citizens to participate. In Cameroon last year, especially in the English part, we saw a 1% in some areas of voter turnout. 1% of voter turnout. That is not giving the citizens the opportunity to participate in the voting process. The elections should be free and fair. That wasn't the case in Cameroon. Mr. Biya's regime happens to be one of the most corrupt in the world, making Cameroon one of the most corrupt countries in the world. In fact, the last elections, they did not make much effort in hiding the corruption. As far as I'm concerned, it was the corruption and the rigging was in broad daylight. Case example, during the elections, the opposing parties had different people stationed in the voting stations to count the people that are coming to vote for different parties. And Mr. Biya's party happened to have the least turnout, yet he ended up being the president. How does that happen? Well, it seems that his administration was very well orchestrated to make him the president. He had people in the elecom to manipulate the results, making him the winner in these elections. The audacity of this regime is unmatched. They hired a group of foreigners, a group of Caucasian French people that said that they were the international observers. In fact, they gave a statement that the elections were credible and fair. But upon investigation, it was found out that the Transparency International had not sent any election observers to Cameroon, and that the organization had no ties to the fake individuals that appeared on the Cameroon CRTV news as the international observers. Imagine that. And during the presidential election, Paul Biya had the administration also set up to cover the rigging and the disputes thereafter. A case example, the president of the Constitutional Council, Mr. Clement Atanga, conducted the hearings and ruled in Biya's favor. In return, there was a tender of $250,000 that was issued by the government of Cameroon to build him a mansion, allegedly. How does a country where the regular citizen cannot afford to eat, cannot afford to have proper shelter, cannot afford to have proper clothing, education, afford to give a tender or bribe someone with $250,000 tender to build them a mansion? How does that happen? Another shocker is after the international community started questioning the 2018 presidential results. Out of the blue, the Congress Palace, where the electoral documents were stored, mysteriously burnt down, getting rid of all the evidence so that the recount does not happen. Wow. You know, I have been researching on Paul Biya, and it came as a shocker to me that his net worth is $200 million. A president's salary cannot give someone that much net worth. Obviously, his wealth was acquired from stealing from the country. This is a man who spends very little time in Cameroon. Most of his time as the president of Cameroon has been spent traveling the world. His daughter actually lives in the United States. She lives in LA in a mansion that the government of Cameroon pays $26,000 every month to rent a house, a mansion for a 19-year-old college kid. That is 13 million Cameroonian money. In fact, or in addition to that $26,000 per month for rent, which equals, it's a lot, or it's about 300 and some change, $300,000 per year to rent a mansion. I mean, even the wealthy Americans do not live like that. But in addition to that, amount of money for rent, the girl rides on a cab, obviously the limos, and she pays $450 one way to school. From home to school, $450 one way, and another $450 back. That is almost $1,000 for transportation for a college kid from her home to her school and back. This is the money from a country where a household spends about or lives on about $2 a day. Can you imagine that? I wanted to speak on this today to bring light to the corruption and the things that are happening in Cameroon. There are too many things that I cannot put on this. I will be talking about different things this week concerning Cameroon. But I just wanted to start with bringing this to the attention of the diaspora. It seems like there is absolutely no freedom in Cameroon because as we speak, the opposing party, the CRM, which the president of the CRM, Mr. Maurice Kamto, is detained and in one of the worst prisons in Cameroon as we speak. And so I'm bringing this to the attention of the diaspora so that we can find ways and means to expose this kind of dictatorship in this day and age. How can we help? We can help by sharing this video with our friends. That way we can put our heads together and figure out what organizations we should speak to so that this type of issues are investigated. Let's come together as a people of Africa and support Cameroon in exposing this madness that's going on with Mr. Paul Biya and his regime. It is not fair to the citizens for them to live in poverty while their president is and his family is living a lavish lifestyle. Support Cameroonians by sharing this. Support by subscribing to this channel, liking, commenting, and also press on a button so that whenever we put out videos concerning these issues, you can be notified. And let's stand together for a stronger continent. Thank you so much for your time. We love you and look forward to having you on the next recording. Take care.